Hi guys, welcome once again to another Coffee and Heroes YouTube show, your weekly roundup of everything happening with the store, as well as everything that sort of caught our eyes in the comics, TV and movie industries as well this week. So this is for the week ending the 27th of September. Good busy week in store once again. I think a lot of people are really excited to come back this week and actually get their helping of Marvel titles. There obviously was a problem the week before and we hadn't received any Marvel stuff, unfortunately. But this week we got a double dose and tons of big titles, new issue of Thor, Iron Man #1 launched, X of Swords kicked off, new Daredevil, tons of great stuff that came through the doors this week. There was one conspicuous by its absence, which was Venom #28. It will be coming with the delivery next week, something I'll get into certainly in a moment. Diamonds, I promise this isn't a rant just starting, but Diamond in general, they do keep some form. They do keep trying to tell us that there are shipping problems with certain titles, and they try to get them to match up with what's happening with the other side of the world, but just sometimes one slips through the cracks. Unfortunately, this week it had to be Venom, and I know spoilers are everywhere online, so do your best to continue avoiding them if you can. Hits this Wednesday. So yeah, really good week for us. We had the new previews books come in as well, so some wonderful stuff to look forward to from that. It's going to be for titles released in December. We've just put up the previews picks in the board in the store, so picks every month. Essentially, myself, Vicky, Roddy, and Keith will all pick out 5 titles to watch out for, and these will be our top recommendations and certainly what we're looking forward to. Just looking at the board, there's some great stuff. Batcat is finally getting going from Tom King and Clay Mann. You've got more Dark Multiverse one-shots. We've got great new looking titles from AWA Comics, one of my favorite publishers at the moment. We've got King in Black launching in December, which we've been looking forward to for a few months already. We got tons and tons of great stuff, so we'll be doing a previews podcast on that next week, so keep an eye out for that. Again, the previews books are always in the store as well, so you can pop in anytime and have a look through those, probably while having a coffee. And anything you want added to the pull list, just let us know or get in touch. So as I say, we do our best to keep everybody informed. So there'll be an article on the website with all our picks. There will be the books in store, the board in store, and then that podcast coming as well. So hopefully it's enough to keep you guys informed with everything that's coming, and certainly ones that we don't want you to miss out on. I should say as well that CGC submissions are now open for the store. We received around 2021 this week. I'm going to make that up and send off the first delivery next week, and hopefully we'll get those back within sort of the 30 days thereabouts. I'm going to put an article on the website about this as well. I've been having a little bit of trouble with my printer, unfortunately, so I keep trying to print out our sheet with all the pricing and stuff on it. But we'll always show you in store and guide you in store, but I'm going to put an article on the website as well so that you guys can keep up to date on the CGC stuff. But as I say, we're always going to send it off in batches of 25, so there'll be 25 going off next Monday, and then we'll look forward to getting those back as well. I just mentioned, obviously, with regards to the podcast, there'll be a previews one coming next week. Myself, Keith and Roddy sat down and we did the latest reviews podcast, and that covered the first 2 weeks of September. So we're trying our best to get back on track. We want to do a fortnightly show with the idea of getting it back down to a weekly show. So we're working hard behind the scenes on that. I have had some ideas recently with regards to expanding the podcast and maybe having a bit of a podcast network. I've been thinking about maybe putting together a wrestling podcast, maybe putting together one that focuses on TV, maybe one that focuses on movies. I don't know, it's just something we're thinking of doing. It's not something that I would be involved with every single one of them, but it's maybe a way of, getting the community from the store to sort of grow even more and get people involved, possibly with regards to those alternative podcasts. I've got back into wrestling in a big way in the last year or so, and it's something we talk about in the store all the time, as well as comics, of course. And it's something that we're seriously considering getting started. So keep an eye. We may, throw out sort of auditions for it, that kind of thing, and try and get people involved. It would be the kind of thing that we would be looking for people to do it consistently, rather than sort of 1 week here, a month there, that kind of thing. I think with the podcasting world, you really got to be consistent with the product that you put out there and let people almost time their watch by it. I mean, I try to do it certainly with the YouTube stuff, always every Sunday without fail. So it's just something to keep an eye out for. It's something we are considering certainly growing, So What'll have we flick through now is just the titles that I enjoyed most this week. Now, I do still have a couple of the pull lists still to go. You may notice a little theme here of predominantly DC, because I always read my DC stuff first. I do have a few Marvel titles still to read, but these are the ones that have stood out for me so far anyway. First up, Suicide Squad number 9. You know, Tom Taylor has been talking about this for ages, about the whole, this is going to be the death of Deadshot and all the rest. Does he pull a rope-a-dope on that? Does he follow through on his promise to do it? Is the cover actually lying to you? You'll have to pick it up to find out. What it is an absolutely spectacular issue, like pretty much every issue of Suicide Squad. So if you're not on Suicide Squad, what is wrong with you? Definitely get it in trades if you've missed out on the single issues. Brilliant stuff. Bruno Redondo on art. Always a consistent title. Always one of the first reads every week for me. Then the next two are actually going to have slightly different covers to the main cover A's that we have in store. These are actually both 1 to 25 covers that I collect myself. So first up is Thor number 7. So as I say, a slightly different cover to the main one, which is the Mjolnir, and then all the different sort of Avengers trying to grab it. This, I highly recommend Thor. We've been talking about it for ages and how great it is, but this is a jumping on point. This is going to be a wee small 2-issue arc, which is almost a break from the main storyline, but it will bring you back up to date and everything that's happening. It also means that when the first trade comes out, which is due in the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to read that, but jump on here. So this is an excellent jumping on point, guys, and I really can't say how much I love Thor. This run is fantastic. Every issue is going back to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th printings. It's clearly clicking with people, so if you're not on it, I really can't recommend it enough. And this week is a perfect chance to jump on it. And then the last one is actually a cover that I'm not overly fussed on, to be honest, but it's 1 to 25, and I collect all of them for this. So this is Death Metal, Speed Metal. Another one shot. This one is actually written by Joshua Williamson with art by Eddie Barrows. Eddie Barrows was a great artist back in the New 52 with Nightwing. Did really good stuff on it. Joshua Williamson, of course, has just finished up this week actually with 762, his Flash run. And this is essentially the cherry on top of the cake that was his Flash run. This really sums everything up I think he wanted to do with Flash. This one's actually a Peach Momoko cover, who is an artist that is a bit hit and miss for me. You know, she comes out with some really good stuff. I hate the I think it's Batman 100 cover. Really hate it. I think it's horrible. I'll superimpose it here so you can see what it is. But by the same token, we also got a 1 to 25 this week for Wind that she did, that Vicky absolutely adored, and we're gonna send it off to CGC. So Speed Metal, I mean, Metal's always a tough one because you don't know if these one shots are going to be essential or not. This is essential, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. This is essential. It really focuses in on the plan moving forward, how it's going to utilize the Flashes and their abilities, the formulation of a plan to stop the Batman Who Laughs, who has become the Darkest Knight at this point. I cannot say enough. Like, pardon me. For so far, in terms of the tie-ins, I would say that Legends of the Dark Knights was essential because it was Origin of the Robin King. Guidebook, not really that essential, to be 100% honest. Trinity Crisis is absolutely key. So is this. So I know that it can be a bugbear of some people that these are outside the main title and it's essential to the main story. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and issue 4 will come out and they'll, you know, basically provide a recap of all of this, and the recap will be more than sufficient. But for me, anyway, Speed Metal and Trinity Crisis are the 2 most essential ones so far. So really, really recommend that one. So that was the titles from this week that I really enjoyed. Holy moly, next week is stacked. I am slightly afraid of next week's delivery, I have to say. There is a grand total, I kid you not, of 825 individual issues coming next week. Now, because we bag and board everything new release-wise, I can start to see why Forbidden Planet don't do it, but I would never change that. We're always going to have the ethos of brand new release. Even if it's an older issue going into the racks, it's always going to be bagged and boarded. We're never going to change that, guys, so don't worry. Even when there's 825 individual ones to be bagged and boarded. Now, the reason for that is the aforementioned Venom for a start. So we have something like 70 copies of Venom coming in alone. But there's lots of great stuff here next week. I really can't overestimate just how good next week is looking. So certainly in terms of titles, you know, I'm looking forward to most. There's a great indie title called Ascender, which I absolutely adore, by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wayne. It is awesome. Number 13's next week. The first 2 trades are available though. Highly, highly recommend that. You've got New Avengers coming next week with number 36. You've got Batman Superman Annual coming next week. We've got a one-shot which is going to be key again to Joker War, which is Batman the Joker Warzone number 1. That's going to be just a one-shot. The big one, Batman 3 Jokers, DOS. So number 2 coming. So again, we've got the cover A's, cover B's, 3 separate premium variants coming for that. And then, of course, you guys who were lucky enough certainly to claim the 1-25s and 1-100s, they'll be coming next week as well. We've got another Dark Knight's Death Metal tie-in, which is Multiverse's End number 1. So that's going to be a big one as well. Really great looking indie title that I'm looking forward to next week, which is Department of Truth. This is written by James Tynion the fourth, who is currently doing such great work on Batman. Really looking forward to that sort of conspiracy, don't trust the government, X-Files. I think that's going to be class. We've got Falcon Winter Soldier number 3 coming next week, so looking forward to that continuing. We've got Fantastic Four 24 coming next week, and I think this is going to be a relatively big one because there was a crossover not too long ago with Thor and Fortnite. Yes, you heard that right. Donny Cates wrote a Thor issue that got inserted into Fortnite, and you could find that issue and read it. And they're not going to put it in print form at the back of Fantastic Four 24. Now, the thing about that is a lot of people bitched and complained about comics crossing over with Fortnite, blah, blah, blah. Personally, I'm all for it. I think it'll attract a new audience to it, and kids who maybe are playing Fortnite will maybe be saying, this is from a comic. Can we go to a comic store, Mum, Dad? That kind of thing. So looking forward to seeing it in print as well. I don't play Fortnite, sorry. So I haven't read it yet. You've got, what else coming next week? So we've got Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey number 3 coming. So that's issue 3 of a 4-issue Black Label series. We've got John Constantine Hellblazer number 10. More on Constantine later in the show. Justice League Annual coming next week. We've got Marvel Zombies Resurrection number 2 coming out next week. We have Nailbiter Returns number 5. Absolutely loving that, I have to say. Very important. We've got the Batman 3 Jokers trading cards coming, so they'll all be part of the 3 Jokers packs that are made up for everybody for the pull lists and also for the racks while stocks last. We have, what else? Shang-Chi number 1 coming next week. That's been a long delayed Marvel title. We have Spawn 310 coming. I've ordered extra of Spawn 310. Spawn's one of those ones. It's not on tons of pull lists, but it is growing. And we keep getting asked for it, so I've taken a gamble. There's a few more going to be in the racks next week. Got Strange Academy number 3 coming, so it's been a minute since we've had a new issue of Strange Academy. We've got Transformers vs. Terminator number 4, so that finishes off that 4-issue miniseries. Yes, indeed, we have it sitting here. Venom number 28 coming. Wonder Woman 763 coming. And then we've also got X Factor number 4. Now, this is the second part of X of Swords. The first part was this week with X of Swords Creation. So that's going to be next week. And also Year Zero number 5, which is the end of the zombie story. That has been absolutely brilliant through AWA titles. I've talked about it before, and I really recommend it, guys. It's going to hit trade very soon. And I believe AWA are doing the same thing with their first volume trades that Image do, which is your $10 price point. So I think that's going to be one to pick up. And I think it'll only grow. I think it's been great in single issue form. So highly recommend jumping on that when it hits trade, just in case you missed out. So a few bits and pieces just to chat about this week. It mostly seemed to be sort of TV and movie news this week. Obviously, a lot of the big comic announcements this week were done through previews and that kind of thing. So just a few things to look forward to. It was announced during the week, unfortunately, that Disney has... I hate saying Disney has delayed. I wish I could just say Marvel Studios has delayed. So effectively, they have delayed Black Widow. Black Widow has already been moved, I don't know how many times. But it's now... It was originally supposed to arrive in May this year, and then Eternals was going to come out in November. But then due to COVID, it got moved and moved and moved. Well, now Black Widow is going to be May the 7th, 2021. And November 5th for Eternals. You've also got Shang-Chi, which is going to be next year. It's still being put down for a 2021 release, but it's been delayed 2 months until July. So, pardon me. So yeah, they're obviously afraid. Tenet seemed to hit pretty soft at the box office. It's sort of approaching 300 million worldwide, but at the same time, it was a movie that cost 200 million plus. It'll be a movie that makes its money back in the long term through DVD and Blu-ray sales and selling to streaming services and stuff like that. But this must be a real headache for Disney and for Marvel Studios, because there's been consistent Marvel product for a decade now, a decade plus actually. And because they always are building this big universe, they kind of need the movies to come out in order for people to understand it. It's essentially, I've always referred to the Marvel movies as the longest running TV show on the big screen, because they are all separate parts, but you do really need to watch them all to understand it, because they're weaving such a great story through them. And with this now being delayed, that really throws a spanner in the works, because I believe Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness was going to link to WandaVision, for example. Now they're still going ahead with WandaVision. Great trailer, by the way. Later this year, I believe it's going to arrive in December. But there's been no mention of Doctor Strange for a while, because obviously they can't film at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how they line all of this up. You know, Black Widow I don't think is much of a big deal, because I think it's going to be a prequel to a lot of this stuff, obviously given Black Widow's fate in Endgame. And it's something I'm really looking forward to. I still say it, and you've probably heard me say it before, but I really wish they had released it in the aftermath of Winter Soldier, because it would have just tied up nicely. But on the plus side, aside from the land stuff, they did announce a new series, and they're going to be doing a Nick Fury series, and Samuel L. Jackson is going to reprise the role. Who else can play Nick Fury? Stop saying David Hasselhoff at the back there. So that's going to be, it says the plot details are being kept under wraps, but it is going to, it is definitely in development. So to give you a full rundown of all the Marvel TV stuff, because that seems to be where they're focusing their attention at the moment. So we've got WandaVision due around December, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Loki, which will be early to mid 2021. And then they have also announced, but there's no concrete dates for these ones, She-Hulk, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel. So tons of great stuff to look forward to on the TV front. There was a trailer actually for a new 10-episode horror Marvel series, which is Hellstrom, which is going to be released all at once on October 16th. Now, I believe this was being done through Hulu. It was a Hulu original, the same way that they did Runaways. The trailer looked actually really, really good. Again, very dark, very different from the normal Marvel stuff. It does seem to be almost put out in a really quiet way, I would say. So when it comes to Hellstrom, so the story follows siblings and supposed serial killer offspring Damon Hellstrom and Anna Hellstrom. Plagued by their family background, the Hellstroms will pursue the world's vilest of the vile with some family drama of their own. Damon is a professor of ethics who moonlights as an exorcist. He also has no illusions about saving a world he has no patience for. Anna runs a successful auction house and suffers no fools, but her true interest lies in hunting down those who hurt others in a bid to get back at an abusive father. All standard, pretty standard Disney stuff. But yeah, this looks really, really good. The decent budget behind it. Great looking trailer. Something a bit different. We'll wait and see. Speaking of the horror type stuff, maybe this is slightly away from comics, maybe not. But there's going to be a Creepshow Halloween special. Now, I'm a big fan of Creepshow. And it's actually going to be an animated Halloween special. But they announced some extra voices for it this week. So you're going to have Joey King, but also Kiefer Sutherland. That's right, Jack Barr himself is going to be doing voice work for this. So I think that's going to be really cool. It's down to premiere on October 26th on Shudder, which is a streaming horror service, I believe. It's one of the few services I'm not actually on for a change, but that might change with this because I love Creepshow. So something to look forward to there, as I say, as well. On the DC side of things, quite the story this week with so ever since they announced that, I'm sure people are bored hearing me talk about the Snyder Cut, I'm sorry. But to be honest, that's why I started the whole YouTube channel. So there was a lot of news this week about how, given the new 4-hour format / 4x1 hour episode format, that the Justice League reshoots are the budget for it is just going up and up and up. So I remember that when it was first announced, Zack was being given 40 million. Zack, like he's my friend around the corner. Zack Snyder was being given 40 million to do it. Apparently that's now went up to 70 million. I have mixed feelings about this because 70 million in the current climate could fund 3 or 4 independent movies, you know, and maybe introduce some new talent to the world instead of being used for something like this, which, you know, as much as I'm looking forward to this, do not see this as a negative thing on it, but this is very much a vanity project. It is Zack being able to show the story that he wanted to tell in a world where, due to bad circumstances, he didn't get to tell it. Now, I've no doubt that this is being made because Warner Brothers are not idiots. They see the money potential in this. They're obviously giving a lot of money and giving time to Zack Snyder to do it because they believe they will ultimately make money out of it. So it is interesting because originally, you know, Zack Snyder said, you know, it's in the can, the Snyder Cut exists. It's not, well, maybe he never fully said it, but he certainly teased it with, you know, showing pictures of movie film cans and saying Snyder Cut in 4 hours and this and that. So, but I suppose in a way, if he's only getting one shot at this, he wants to do it right. And he's obviously sold the studio that this is something that will make the money. So, mixed feelings to a degree. I'm still going to watch it day one. So, you know, at least it's going to be the best. Like, there's no excuses here of where Snyder can hide behind. You know, he's being given the time to do it. He's been given the platform to do it. He's been allowed to release it as episodic content. He's been given budget for reshoots. He's been given access to the actors and the sets again. There are no excuses. This better be amazing or he is setting himself up for a fall. Hopefully I'll still love it because of my love for BVS and Man of Steel and my hatred of Justice League. So we'll wait and see, but he's backing himself into a corner here and this better be a masterpiece, to be honest. An interesting bit of news I saw this week. There's a great looking indie title coming up soon called Crossover. I'm sure I've chatted about it before, which is Donny Cates on writing duties and Jeff Shaw on art. And there was this artwork originally shown from it, and I remember looking at it at the time thinking that looks an awful lot like Shazam. So Crossover is all about like the fictional universe against fictional universe, and it's from Image Comics, but obviously he'll pull from DC and Marvel for this. But I remember looking, going, that really, really looks like Shazam, you know, red costume, yellow down the middle. And now that it's being put into articles and so forth, Image have been sending out replacement artwork for this, and it's been recolored, and suddenly it's blue with yellow. Maybe they just didn't fancy a long court battle with this, you know, for the sake of one panel or one character or whatever. But I can't wait for Crossover. It's going to be awesome. You know, it's June, November, so it'll be coming out just before Kingdom Black. So the end of this year is going to be massive for Donny Cates. Just a couple of things to finish off on. First of all, I watched Justice League Dark Apocalypse War last night, and holy moly, that movie was awesome. If Snyder's Justice League cut is anywhere near as good as this, we're in for a treat. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, it's sort of loosely based on the Dark Side War, but also has tons of new material in there, but also has links to Flashpoint. I'm not always the biggest fan of the DC Universe animated stuff. Hush is a big dud for me. You know, the first 3 quarters of it are awesome, and then they change the ending. Flashpoint is exceptional. Suicide Squad Hell to Pay is very good. But by the same token, Batman Harley is one of the biggest pieces of beep I've ever seen. Justice League Dark Apocalypse War manages to balance around, I would say, anywhere between 60 and 70 well-known DC characters against Darkseid and make it work, and everybody has a moment. You know, it's very John Constantine-led, which I was really excited about. I did say I would mention Constantine again. Very excited about to see him at the forefront of a movie. But they also have Matt Ryan in to do the voice work, so from the Constantine TV show. If they ever do a live-action movie or insert him in the DC movie universe in some place, please use Matt Ryan. He is the perfect Constantine. But, you know, what was great about this is, as I say, like, a lot of smaller characters had their moments to shine. Etrigan was a brilliantly used character in this, you know, Demon Etrigan. You had King Shark. King Shark is a shark. If you know, you know. Loads of smaller characters getting their moments. Trigon as well. Raven was a big, massive part of this. Great to see Damian Wayne well utilised as well. Big Damian Wayne fan. Really, really recommend this. If you haven't seen it, go out and get it. It is beautiful to look at. They've thrown a big budget at it. Darkseid's the main bad guy in it. Apocalypse is featured. The only character I was hoping to see at some point but didn't was Mr. Miracle, which I thought would have been cool. But no, brilliant. It's an adult animated tale. I mean, it is violent in places. There's plenty of swearing in it, I have to say. Plenty of Constantine, you know, English swear words. But really fun and funny as well. This is one of DC's best animated movies, and I really recommend it. So yeah, that finishes that. I'm just going to finish off very quickly with two small unboxing videos, I suppose. But these were a couple of figures that I brought home this week that will be going up on the shelf, and that we have plenty of in store that I highly recommend. So Todd McFarlane continues to excel with his multiverse line for the DC stuff, and they're now releasing the White Knight figures. So first of all, you've got Batman there. I love the White Knight design for Batman. It's big, it's chunky, it's muscular, but it's athletic, and it's intimidating. And then, of course, you have the Joker from White Knight as well. What I really love here is that you get the Jack Napier head to have as an alternative to also the Joker head. But as well, you gotta love that it comes with this big, massive gun. As anyone who knows me knows, I'm not a big fan of Batman 89, but I love the nods to this stuff. So just gonna fire these open. What's really cool about the McFarlane stuff as well is that A, it's always brilliantly packaged. B, you get stands for it. You know, you're always given a stand with the figures, but you're also given this little trading card sort of showing the comic design as well. But I don't know if I'm gonna need scissors here or not. We're about to find out if a Batarang is sharp enough to cut through plastic. I really hope I don't damage this. Yes, it is. Batarang for all occasions. Anyway, there is everything that comes along. So you have a grappling hook, you have a long Batarang, so you can set that up in a really, really cool way. But yeah, the detail and so forth in these is fantastic, you know, and they're not overly priced figures, which I think is really important. You know, McFarlane for a long time was known as producing high quality, high priced items. And I think this is them sort of hitting the middle ground with quality stuff, but also it won't, you know, break the bank or anything like that. But yeah, you have the Joker one just there. Again, having the two heads there, the long gun, and then the uniform and so forth. So big, big fans of these figures. We did get a limited amount of them in store, so highly recommend popping in if you're a big fan of White Knight. And if you're not a fan of White Knight, why are you not a fan of White Knight? So yeah. Anyway, that is going to do it for me this week. Looking forward to next week. As I say, tons of great stuff next week. Cannot wait for 3 Jokers. It is going to be brilliant. So much fun. And also Venom 28, I'm really looking forward to there, as I say, next week. So stay safe out there, guys. I do hope you have a good weekend. And I'll look forward to seeing you all in store next week, inevitably picking up 3 Jokers. We have made sure to keep a stock of issue 1 as well. So just in case you missed out on issue 1, we do have plenty left to the side. So yeah. Again, stay safe out there, guys. Take it easy.